The following commercial is a production and property of WDDK-FM, Dock 103.9, Greensboro, Georgia.
Lake Hits, Dock 103.9, Lake Area's #1 station, Drifters, up on the roof. 340-20 then Ford, Chip Linus, along with Louie Herron. Louie Herron, Toyota in Milledgeville, and LouieHerronToyota.com. Back with us, keeping it real today. And Louie, I was surprised at the answer. I can drive as many miles as I want on a lease as long as I don't turn it in.
That's correct.
That is something else.
That is correct. So, I know a lot of times sales representatives may say something to a customer, and, it's just hard for customers to really buy in and believe everything when they're at a car dealership from past experience, just the way things have been done over the years. But the thing is, there's a lot of good dealers out there. So, it's really hard to lump everybody into the same category, in my opinion, and I'm sure you feel the same way.
We have talked about that. Dealers, everyone around the lake area, they've got to be straight up with you. They've got to be honest. It's the community's too small. They would not be in business if they weren't straight up. I'm telling
you. And I will tell you, too, if you're close in the market for a car, the car industry, we all need your business. It doesn't matter what you want to buy. We really do. If you're close to the market, you're thinking, do your very best to keep all business local, in our local communities, keep the tax dollars here. We just, hopefully they've earned that right. Hopefully you feel the same way that the dealers have earned that right. Of course, your experience has got to be, top shelf and so forth. So keep that in mind. How about this question? All right, this is an interesting question. Is it real that nitrogen in the tires are better than oxygen?
There's a lot of talk about that lately. I would say no. Air is just as good.
Okay. Let me ask you this question before I answer. How much do you think it should cost to put nitrogen in the tires?
I would think nothing.
That's what you would think?
That's
Zero?
What I would think.
Well, no, you got to pay for the machines and so on and so forth. But I'll let people know before I answer the question that somewhere between $40 is reasonable.
Really?
Yeah, $35 to $40.
Really?
Yeah, if someone's trying to get $50. Or greater. Really and truly, that you could get nitrogen in your tires for. I think if I recall correctly, we charge $39 at the dealership. We do. The answer, I believe, is yes. And there's a lot of sources you can go to. I would, if you're interested in knowing more, you'll find the findings will be unbelievable. But you can Google. The topic and it'll give you a bunch of information. But here's the deal: when you have nitrogen in the tire lasts longer. It stays inflated. It's better fuel economy. You get longer wear and tear in your tires. Did you know that NASA, NASCAR, airline, and the military, they all put nitrogen in the tires?
I did not know that.
And I know a lot of when you hear nitrogen, you're like, man, what is that? It's not flammable, okay? So it's not dangerous. It doesn't blow up or anything like that. So it's nothing to be fearful of. It doesn't leak, through the tire wall, okay? So the tires stay inflated. Basically, the molecular, and I'm not a scientist, but just based on my findings of looking at it, the molecular structure of nitrogen, it's a little larger, so it doesn't pass through the walls. It's kind of with air, like in a compressor. Condensation forms, okay, with regular oxygen, like with a compressor air. And just kind of like a washing machine, when you run your washing machine and it spins and spins, all that water goes to the outside. Right. Mm-hmm. Well, very similar to the tire. The same thing. All the water with oxygen goes to the outside, and that's what throws tires out of balance.
Okay.
When it throws tires out of balance, next thing you know, there's extra wear. So nitrogen is better than oxygen. It's not very expensive at all. And a lot of times, if you'll ask a lot of the dealers who offer it, a lot of them, they'll have like some form of AAA that comes with it for that $35 or $40.
Okay.
You get like road hazard and, battery, key lockout and gas. It's similar to AAA kind of deal. So the answer is yes, nitrogen is better than oxygen. So that's something that some people may not know. Again, you don't want to be laid to sleep and pay $90 or $100 for nitrogen. Basically there's different stems, and we use a compression machine, and it doesn't take long for as far as labor is concerned. But the dealer's got to make a little something. But $35, $40, that's reasonable. And again, the one we offer, you do get the roadside assistance. There's an extra value there. Not all do that though. So, and I wouldn't be offended if you go to a dealer or a tire shop and they offer nitrogen and they don't have anything extra besides the nitrogen, and they say it costs $35, $40. That's reasonable and fair.
And any tire, I don't need a special tire to get nitrogen?
No, absolutely not. I mean, again, you do some research on it. It's really amazing. I mean, I couldn't do it justice because obviously there's a lot of science behind the nitrogen versus the oxygen, but the gist is just basically the expansion. It's just thicker than oxygen. And again, the condensation forms up, and again, that gets to the outside of the tires. It's spinning, and the next thing you know, you get uneven wear. And so that's an interesting question that most people may not have known.
Learning something every day. What are we going to come back with? Let's tease the next question.
Well, we've got a few different questions here. We could go to this question. It's pretty interesting. I think would raise some eyebrows. Is it real that I can get a better deal if I just pay cash?
Okay.
I just write you a check, and is that just a better deal? Can I get a better deal for that?
Wow, we'll get into that. Very interesting. 15 away from 4. It is Super Thursday. Chip and Louie from Louie Herron Toyota. We've got more of your favorites. Let's see. Herman's Hermits coming up next on Doc 103.9.